What happens when a man who believes money is the only key to control collides with a woman whose heart beats for compassion? Alexander Hawthorne has built walls of wealth around his heart, shielding himself from a world where love feels like a risk too great to take. Catherine Caldwell has no riches to her name, only an unbreakable spirit and a passion for helping children who have nowhere else to turn. Their worlds should never have touched. Yet fate has a way of bending the rules. One chance encounter beneath the chandeliers of a grand charity gala ignites a spark neither of them expected. But as past wounds resurface and long-held beliefs are tested, both must confront a truth they've spent their lives avoiding. The greatest wealth isn't found in power or control. It's found in the people we choose to love. But love comes with a price. And the question remains, will they be brave enough to pay it? If you're ready for a romance that will tug at your heartstrings, surprise you with its twists, and leave you believing in the power of love, don't miss what happens next. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a single moment of this unforgettable story. Alexander Hawthorne had never believed in fate. To him, life was a game of numbers, deals, and carefully calculated risks. Emotions were unpredictable variables, dangerous, uncontrollable, and best avoided. But as he adjusted the cufflinks of his tailored midnight black tuxedo, a faint flicker of unease stirred in his chest. Tonight was the annual Hawthorne Foundation Charity Gala, an event where the city's elite gathered under chandeliers dripping with crystal to donate generously, while quietly measuring their social standings against one another. Alex had hosted the gala every year since inheriting his father's empire at the age of 24. Now at 31, success clung to him like a second skin. A vast financial empire, properties scattered across continents, and a reputation as a man who never made mistakes. But beneath the facade of control lay a void he refused to acknowledge. After his mother's death, he'd learned the harsh truth. Money was the only constant, the only thing that couldn't be taken away. Tonight, however, was different. Still no date? His best friend, Ethan Blackwell, leaned against the marble fireplace of Alex's penthouse suite, nursing a glass of scotch. Ethan's grin was equal parts amusement and challenge. Alex adjusted his cufflinks again. I don't need a date. Correction, you need a +1. The board expects you to set an example. People talk when the host arrives alone every year. Ethan swirled his drink thoughtfully. You could pick any woman in the city. Why make it complicated? Alex's gaze was cool. Because I don't believe in wasting time on meaningless connections. Maybe that's the problem. Ethan's smile softened into something resembling concern. Look, I know you prefer solitude, but appearances matter. Besides, it's just one night. No attachments required. Before Alex could respond, Ethan set down his glass and pulled out his phone. As a matter of fact, I know someone perfect. Catherine Caldwell. She runs the Starlight Children's Center. Smart, compassionate, and stunning, if that matters. Alex's jaw tensed. Charity directors often clung to wealthy benefactors like moths to light. He had no patience for calculated charm. I'm not interested in... She's not like... That, Ethan cut in, as if reading his thoughts. I've worked with her center. She doesn't ask for favors, doesn't play games. Besides, your foundation sponsors Starlight. Inviting her would look perfectly natural. Alex hesitated. Business was about control, about removing variables. Yet something about this woman intrigued him. Perhaps because Ethan, a man rarely impressed, spoke with such genuine respect. Fine, Alex relented. But if this becomes a distraction, I'll handle it. Starlight Children's Center stood in stark contrast to the polished world Alex inhabited. Nestled in the heart of the city, its modest brick exterior bore signs of wear. But the warmth within was unmistakable. The moment Alex stepped through the glass doors, the distant laughter of children echoed through the halls, mingling with the faint scent of vanilla and fresh paper. "Catherine Caldwell?" he inquired at the reception desk. "She's in the art room with the kids, down the hall, second door on the left." Alex followed the directions, his polished shoes clicking against the linoleum floor. As he approached, soft music drifted from the open doorway, notes from an old piano, slightly out of tune, yet oddly soothing. He paused at the threshold. Inside, a woman knelt beside a young girl, guiding her hands as they painted a vibrant sunflower onto canvas. Long auburn hair cascaded down her back in soft waves, and despite the faint smudge of blue paint on her cheek, her smile radiated a warmth that seemed to light up the room. Her eyes, deep hazel flecked with gold, crinkled slightly at the corners as she encouraged the child. Alex had expected efficiency, professionalism. He had not expected this presence. "Ms. Caldwell?" His voice came out sharper than intended. She glanced up, her smile unfaltering. "Yes, can I help you? I'm Alexander Hawthorne. My foundation sponsors this center." Recognition flickered in her eyes, followed by something else. Guarded curiosity. "Of course. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hawthorne." Rising gracefully, she extended her hand. Her grip was firm, steady. Alex released her hand quickly. "I need a +1 for the Hawthorne Foundation Gala. Given your position, I thought it would be mutually beneficial." For the first time, her smile faded. "You're asking me to attend as your date for the sake of appearances." "It's a professional arrangement," he clarified. "Your presence would reinforce the connection between our organizations." Silence stretched between them. "I appreciate the offer," she said finally, "but I don't attend events to be someone's accessory, Mr. Hawthorne. I attend to support causes I believe in. If that's not the reason you're asking, I'll have to decline." Alex's brows lifted. He was unaccustomed to rejection, especially from someone whose organization relied on his funding. Yet there was no trace of manipulation in her gaze, only quiet conviction. "I see," he replied coolly. "Perhaps I misjudged the situation." As he turned to leave, a soft tug at his sleeve stopped him. The little girl from earlier, her fingers still streaked with paint, looked up at him with wide brown eyes. "Are you coming to the gala, Miss Kate?" she asked, her voice hopeful. Kate knelt beside the girl, her expression tender. "I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe someday." Alex watched the exchange, something shifting uncomfortably in his chest. Without another word, he turned and strode down the hall. Yet as he stepped into the crisp evening air, her words echoed in his mind, stirring an unfamiliar sensation beneath the walls he'd built so carefully. This woman was not what he'd expected, and somehow that made her impossible to forget. Alexander Hawthorne arrived at the Grand Astoria Hotel with the precision of a man who controlled every moment of his life. The gala had long since become a ritual, a night where power and influence wove together beneath glittering chandeliers, sealed with the clink of crystal glasses. Yet tonight, as the valet took his car and he adjusted the cuffs of his tuxedo, something in the air felt different. Perhaps it was the faint echo of Catherine Caldwell's words still lingering in his mind. Inside, the grand ballroom shimmered with warm, golden light. Tables adorned with ivory linens and floral centerpieces surrounded a polished marble dance floor where a string quartet played soft, classical melodies. Waiters in crisp white jackets glided between guests, offering champagne and hors d'oeuvre. The city's elite moved through the space like planets in their own orbits, effortlessly graceful, yet always aware of who was watching. "Alexander!" Ethan Blackwell approached, his black tuxedo tailored to perfection, a glass of whiskey in hand. His smile carried both amusement and anticipation. "No +1. Alex accepted a glass of bourbon from a passing waiter. Apparently, some people value their principles over social opportunities. Ethan chuckled. Catherine Caldwell turned you down, didn't she? Alex's gaze flicked sideways. She made her position clear.